Time now is 5 o'clock. South King Fire Board of Fire Commissioners meeting is now in session. Today is December 23rd. Pledge allegiance, Commissioner Burrs. Thank you. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting on November 26, 2024, the special meeting on December 4th, 2024, and December 19th, 2024. Has everyone had time to look at the minutes? Okay,
I can't vote on the November minutes because I wasn't here.
thank you, Commissioner Gates. We'll just go through November 26th and December 4th for now. And we'll go from there. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Minutes approval for Commissioner Burrs, seconded by who? Seconded by Commissioner Medino. Any discussion on the two regular minutes? November 26th and special meeting December 4th for now. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So do we have a motion for December 19th?
I'll move to approve the December.
Moved by Commissioner Medino, seconded
Second.
by Commissioner Burrs. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We have approval of our minutes. Down to Commissioner comments. I will start with Commissioner Gates.
No comments, except I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas, great holiday season. See you next year, I guess.
Okay, Commissioner Medino.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Commissioner Burrs.
What Commissioner Gates said.
And for myself, yes, everyone, please have a safe holiday. And we will see you all next month, hopefully. And so again, just wish you and your family a safe holiday season. Public comments. Please state your name and address for the record. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Any public comment? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to item number 6. Commissioner committee reports. Any reports? The only one I have, if there's none, the Culture Engagement Committee did meet and we set stages for some quarterly meetings. We're going to come out with a purpose statement and just kind of initial meeting just to say, hi, here's what we want to do, our scope of work, and then create our purpose. So we plan on meeting quarterly. That's what we want to do. So there's some things that we just like to make sure we advocate for and other stuff. Commissioner Medino, anything? Yes, Mark. Okay. Yes, Commissioner Gates.
Minutes. In number 1 there, it says, via our website, we're currently advertising to hire firefighters. The application period is open until June 30th. Is that the same as in the Daily Dispatch today? It said, we're looking for entry-level firefighters, EMTs, closes December 31st.
Where the June 30th is coming from.
Dr. Stevens, you want to get a mic? Thank you.
The June 30th isn't correct. The December 31st is the deadline for this upcoming process. So I'll have to look at where the June 30th date is coming from and get back to you.
Any other questions?
One more, on the second page, under the budget and potential grants, where we say, the request for a grant, I guess, the request was declined due to our liability. What do we mean by that?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, can you repeat that question?
On page 2, under the bullet point that says budget and potential grants. The third bullet point says the request was declined due to our liability.
I'm not aware of the minutes that you're referring to.
Yeah, this is from, from your, from your committee meeting minutes. And no, I don't think you were at that meeting.
I was at the Culture and Engagement Committee, but I've not reviewed the minutes.
All right.
Commissioner Gates, if you don't mind, maybe I'll have some staff do some homework and get back with you.
I just wondering
and
what,
answer that
what,
question.
what liability are we
Okay.
talking, are we talking about?
I know in our discussion, Commissioner Gates was more just on asking about grants and things like that. That's all I can recall. And it was kind of a report from, I think from Sharice that did that.
So both of those questions were from the minutes, the June 30th date and the one you just referenced on liability. Those are both from those minutes because
It doesn't say you were at that meeting, December 9th. Pardon? Oh,
I
okay.
think it said she came in 3:15.
I see down, okay, down there.
yes, I was out of town. I had an errand to run in Vancouver and
That's fine.
got here as soon as I could.
Thank you.
We'll have staff find some answers and get back with you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? I don't think there are. Okay, we're going to move on to resolution 659, adopting 2025 regular meeting dates.
I'll move approval of resolution number 659.
I'll second it.
Good evening, Commissioners. We've got a plethora of resolutions to get through tonight, so I'm going to read them. Resolution 659 adopts the regular meeting schedule for 2025. By the looks of it, barring any changes, all of our meetings next year will be on Tuesdays. Sometimes they rotate between Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it looks like next year it's all on Tuesdays. Resolution 659, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire, King County, Washington, adopting the regular meeting schedule for 2025. Adopted a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire this 23rd day of December, 2024. The following commissioners being present and voting.
Okay, now take a motion. Commissioner Gates, you still want to entertain your motion?
All right, sorry. I'll make a motion. We approve resolution number 659.
Thank you. Commissioner Burge, one second.
I will second it.
Motion by Commissioner Gates and seconded by Commissioner Burris, accept resolution 659, adopting 25 regular meeting minutes. Any discussion on the motion on table? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Resolution 660, updating FMO's fee schedule.
We have Fire Marshal John Nichols in the building tonight. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
No, very simple.
Resolution 660, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners, South King Fire, King County, Washington, regarding the adoption of the IFC permit fee schedule, after-hour inspection fee schedule, and preventable response fees. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire this 23rd day of December, 2024. The following commissioners being present and voting.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution 660.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Burris, second by Commissioner Medino. Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Resolution 660 is adopted. Resolution 661, new policy.
Okay.
Resolution 661. This is a continuation of policies the board has been adopting the last couple of months and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Our plan is to bring them in small batches for your consideration. Resolution 661 covers credit card usage, procurement policy, fuel policy, and travel policy. The district had a credit card usage policy, procurement policy, and a travel policy, but this is updated with best practices per state law and auditors' recommendations. The only new policy in this batch is a fuel policy. Resolution 661 of the Board of Fire Commissioners of South King Fire, King County, Washington, regarding the adoption of internal control policies. Adopted at the regular meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners of South King Fire, this 23rd day of December, 2024, the following commissioners being present and voting.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 661.
Motion by Commissioner Vedino. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Burris. Any other discussion on the motion on the table?
Are we gonna, have a chance, are we gonna discuss these policies? We go through them?
So what,
I've got a couple questions like on the fuel.
okay,
You can ask. Go ahead, Commissioner Gates.
you can ask questions.
In, on page 2, it talks about maximum limits. Not to exceed a per transaction limit of $10,000. And then on the next page, it says standard credit limits will be set to $1,000 one-time purchases. We talk about the same thing there, different.
So Commissioner, what page again? Page 2?
Page 2 and page 3. On page 2, it's the, in the middle of the paragraph titled maximum limits. On page 3, it's your issuance, item number 3.
Goods or services for which the district does not have an existing purchase agreement or contract may not exceed a per transaction limit of 10,000, including freight and tax. The total cumulative dollar value of the cardholders purchases within 1 month shall not exceed 30,000. Eric, do you remember that by chance?
Not off the top.
I'm
of my head.
thinking that has to do with our total fuel contract. It's not an individual card holder. These were reviewed internally and by legal counsel, but we'll have to look into that, Commissioner. It's not for one person to be able to purchase that amount.
It seems like the difference is existing purchase agreement or contract. I don't really understand what that means, but it's the difference I read.
Okay. We can make note and get back to you on that. So commissioners, moving forward, this was part of the request on your behalf last month to get these in front of the board, given the state auditor's findings. All of these policies moving forward after this month will go before the Policy and Procedure Committee. They'll be vetted at that level with legal counsel, and then they'll be put forward before the board. Do you have another question?
One other question. At the end where it talks about enforcement and review. Prior to receiving cardholders shall be informed about the policy, et cetera. Should they not be required, should there not be a written acknowledgement?
There is. There is. In fact, was it not attached to this? The credit card policy has a written acknowledgement. My understanding was that there was going to be one for the fuel cards too. Yes. And Commissioner Vedino is stating there is.
Yeah, the other one was for, okay, this is the fuel card? Okay, what's that very end? No problem.
Again, after this month, these will be vetted through the Policy and Procedure Committee, and hopefully they'll be actually formatted properly before they go before the board. These are in a sort of a raw format. Once the board approves it, they will be put into Lexipol, and it will be easier to follow and reference certain sections like all of our other policies. Any other questions on the policies?
Next question on the procurement policy,
Okay.
who has the vendor list?
Finance has a list, and I believe logistics has a list.
Hard to explain this, going a little further into that policy, we've got, a bunch of numbers that are pretty close to the same. Like the fire chief, and we've got one place where you can't do something if it exceeds $75,000 in value. Here's another thing, equipment, materials and supplies, less than $75,500. On, personnel services, less than $70,000 in value. Be nice if we could come up with a standard number. Unless there's something that says that's 75.5 or.
My understanding is some of those amounts are governed by state law. The personal services contract, I think, was a number that we felt was a reasonable amount given our current contracts with our legislative advocate, other people that we've used for the strategic bridge plan. That was a number that we thought was acceptable, not too high, not too low, that afforded us the flexibility to enter into those contracts.
One last question on that policy.
We will take note of the $500 difference though and make sure that it wasn't a typo.
Emergency purchase. In the event of an emergency, the fire chief or in the fire chief's absence, the assistant fire chief may approve purchase outside of the budget if it's not feasible for the board. We don't have an assistant fire chief. Currently, I don't think. So,
As in an assistant chief? Well, we do have one budgeted though. So, so the policy hopefully is accounting for the future needs of the district. Yes, thank you. I thought that was going to be a difficult question.
Just looking forward.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Any other questions? Okay. So we're on resolution 661. We have a motion by Commissioner Medino, second by Commissioner Burrs. Any other discussion on 661 at all this time? Hearing seen none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Resolution 661, new policy has passed. Resolution 662, authorizing procurement of tractor, dawn, aerial, and related equipment.
Okay, Commissioners. So just something we noticed on the agenda was it was actually misspelled. It's a tractor drawn aerial. But for the record, mistakes happen.
I was like, oh, a new one.
This is a big deal for our organization. We have another technical problem. Hold on one second. This is a big deal for our organization. We've tried to capture the many, many milestones in this 75th year of serving the public, and this is another one of those. We had a group of people that worked extensively on this, and I think it's appropriate to recognize the individuals that worked very hard to make sure that this happened, and it happened before the end of the year for many reasons. The Apparatus Standardization Committee, it was led by Captain Williams and Lieutenant Moore. They put in a significant amount of work this year. They also had Lieutenants Hubbard and Parker, driver engineers Chikansky, Fuller, McKinney, Sapp, and Wassel, Chief Smith, Logistics Officer Captain Thorson, Fleet Supervisor Brummett, Financer Supervisor Barrett, and others participated in this process to put forth this procurement order this evening. Resolution 662, resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of South King Fire, King County, Washington, authorizing the procurement through a cooperative purchasing agreement arrangement for the purchase of a tractor-drawn aerial and related equipment from Rosenbauer, Minnesota, LLC, and waiving competitive bidding. Adopted by the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire, King County, Washington, at a regular meeting of the board this 23rd day of December, 2024, with the following commissioners being present and voting.
Resolution 662, do I have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 662.
Motion by Commissioner Medina, is a second? Second by Commissioner Burrs. Any other discussion on 662?
I don't want to get too far in the weeds. Maybe Lieutenant Moore can answer a couple quick questions. So the ladder truck that we're proposing ordering, what stations will that fit in?
We'll kind of take this, I guess. Currently, what we're looking at, it will, I believe I'm wrong. Yes. It will fit in station 64, and with what we're looking at, the remodel of 62s, we also believe it's going to fit there.
And it would be great if we had our 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan, but we don't. And I also acknowledge that we've got to get on it with the lead times. If our minds suddenly changed in 6 months, what are our options to change that rig?
You want to talk about the technical side of it, or you want me? As I understand it, we do have options to look at things and so forth. So we will have to look at that. As was stated, this is a big change for this department. But as we also look at the future of this department and what the cities are doing around us and so forth, a tractor-drawn aerial is going to give us some flexibility we don't have today. We have challenges with some complexes today, as you're well aware, we did years ago too, in getting into these places. It's one of the questions I have been asking and we are talking about. It'll be 3 years before this is here. So we have 3 years to prepare and look at all aspects of it. But this is a different type of ladder truck from what we have now. The ladder trucks we have now, so everyone's fully aware, have a pump on them. This one right now, the way it's spec'd, does not. And that gets into length and size and all those things. So I am confident that we have the right people to make decisions, to look at how the organization is going to run 3 years from now. And I support this move. I think it's something that not only are we doing, our neighbors have been doing also. We're all having challenges with access. And that's what was really pushing this change. But there are some things, as you're probably well aware of, we need to have a pump in front of it. So there are some conceptuals in how we staff and how we do things that will need to be addressed between now and 3 years from now.
But you're confident that there is enough flexibility in the contract that as we figure that stuff out, if we need to change it a little bit, we're not left hanging dry or anything.
Yep, and our sales rep is here if you'd like to hear directly from him.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Yeah, Ms. Lee? Nope. There is that was one of the biggest questions that a group of us had is what happens if this and this and this. And as we all know, we're doing a strategic plan this coming year. We start talking about 5-year plans and what we're doing. And so it is kind of hard right now to look at these pieces. But I do honestly believe that this is the right direction for this organization to go. But it's a big change.
I just fear that our plan will be revolving around the truck instead of the truck fitting whatever the plan is. But I also understand we got to do it now.
Yeah.
Kind of a conundrum.
And it's a fair concern. I think everybody is kind of there and looking at so forth. But yeah, because we could expect one with a pump and all kinds of stuff, and it's super long, and our stations just aren't there at this time. So the committee, I know, is very realistic about what works with what we have today.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing seen none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Resolution 662 is passed. Resolution 663, approval of employee handbook.
Okay. Resolution 663 covers the adoption of an employee handbook, non-represented employee handbook. A little bit of history for the record. For many, many years, we had an employee handbook that was, for all intents and purposes, created internally without any board oversight or approval. We had a manual that was dated 2012. We needed to update it. Decade had passed. We bolstered the human resources division. And one of the first tasks that I had for our HR generalist was to get us an updated employee handbook. So last year in 2023, the summer of 2023, we put out our first significant update to the employee handbook. Now some things have changed. We would like to modify some of the benefits. We don't have the ability to do that on our own. That takes governance oversight and approval. And we were also told by legal counsel and our HR division that we needed to update it with some HR best practices. It needed to be more encompassing. So the copy that you received this weekend is updated. Legal counsel has reviewed it. He has a few minor changes that we will make to it before it's actually published for January, but there are no major changes from what you have in front of you in your board packets. A couple of changes that are included in this. We'd like to see parity between what the non-represented employees of the district have and the represented. So this past year, several collective bargaining agreements were ratified. One of those was the firefighter CBA that you approved. In that CBA, there is a reduction of sick leave hours for that group. We are proposing to make a similar reduction in our benefits. So this has a reduction in sick leave benefits for the non-represented members. It also has floating holidays, which were bargained in the civilian contract. This handbook provides similar floating holidays to those personnel, but it's on a tier. And so our youngest members in the organization that don't have much time off would benefit from more floating holidays. The most tenured individuals, like myself, receive nothing. So we think it's a fair benefit request and change. It takes care of our young members, brings parity with the other contracts, and we take care of our people before we take care of ourselves. So the resolution before you also provides expectations for updates in the future. If we have benefit changes, we have to go before the board approves them. If we have editorial changes, we can make those on our own so long as the Policy and Procedure Committee has reviewed them. And we now have a mechanism in this handbook to track those changes so we know when changes occur, who approved it, board level or district level. Documentation, transparency. I want to give credit to HR Generalist Ball, Finance Supervisor Barrett, the rest of the HR team, Executive Secretary Perry, others who participated in this. The business team also reviewed it and provided input. So a lot of hands and legal counsel have reviewed this document. So commissioners, Resolution 663, a resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of South King Fire, King County, Washington, regarding the adoption of a non-represented employee handbook, adopted at the regular meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners of South King Fire this 23rd day of December, 2024, the following commissioners being present and voting.
Thank you, Director Gann. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the new employee handbook.
Motion by Commissioner Burris, second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Medino. Any other discussion or comments on Resolution 663? Yes, Commissioner Gates.
One question on vacation cash out. Where it says vacation cash outs shall not exceed 2 times their annual accrual rate. Excess vacation must be used prior to separation date. if it isn't used prior to separation date, they're forfeited?
Yes, it'll be lost. And I looked over at legal counsel because that was one of his questions over the weekend. The updated copy clarifies that. But yes, you lose it.
Mr. Burris?
You have it in front of you?
No, I don't have it in front of me, but I think
Okay, no problem.
I think Eric and I have seen it enough to probably.
On page 16.
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. It talks about scheduling for full-time employees and it
Yep.
gives some real definitive hours.
Yes.
And sometimes I get a little confused on the different categories of employees. And when we go to page 17 and 18, we start talking about non-exempt employees. And it's 18, 19, the partial days thing. Do those conflict or are we talking two different classes of employee?
I believe you're, hold on. Let me do this right. All right. I believe we're talking about two different classes of employee, exempt versus non-exempt. I don't have it right in front of me, but I do recall looking at it that we needed to clearly segregate the two types, but we are talking about two different types of employees there.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all.
Well, with the current situation, we felt the need to expand on this quite heavily in the handbook. And so it is more definitive than it was in the previous version. And on the schedules, there's a reason for that. We have very defined working schedules moving forward.
How many people do we have working 4 10-hour days?
Mary probably knows.
All the day staff, right?
No,
Is that-
I'd have to get back to you. If somebody could do a quick count in their head, chief officers typically work 410s. We have, that schedule is afforded to individuals in finance. They're not covered under this handbook. Are you asking about the handbook or just how many people work 410?
Just in general, how many, I'm sort of wondering, I mean, if this covers, 40 people, how many of those 40 are working 410s, for example? And I mean, does anybody work anything other than having Friday off? Does everybody have Friday off?
Sometimes they have Monday off, sometimes they have Friday off. And, within each division, the supervisors manage the schedule
Mhm.
and they ensure that we have adequate coverage. So if you've got, 3 employees and they all want to take Friday off, that's not acceptable. You have to have somebody off on Monday, you have to have somebody off on Friday.
What about personnel, Mary? If you're off on Fridays, what are the other 2 employees' schedule? Oh, okay, they're working 5 10, okay.
This new handbook in the updated language ensures that we have adequate coverage.
Any other questions? Okay, we have motion of Commissioner Burris and seconded by Commissioner Vadino. Resolution 663. Any other discussion? If hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? None? Unanimous? Thank you. Thank you, Director Ganem. Thank you for everyone to the hard work on resolutions too. Item 12, Administrative Team Report.
Commissioners, you received the staff report in your packets. So if you have any questions or anything based on that, please let us know.
Any questions? Comments? Mayor Gates, anything? Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, December budget.
One quick comment on the staff reports. We're going to continue to refine these, but it's very impressive to see the amount of work that's going on. Even just in the last month or two, people are really starting to capture what they're working on and provide that information to the board and the rest of the organization. So I think that's a good thing for everybody. On the budget side of things, you received the revenue ending report the end of November. Nobody said anything, but we were aware. We were actually had received about 2.39% less property tax revenue than we had anticipated at that point in time, which actually equated to over $1 million in property tax not being collected. That number has dropped a little bit. Last count, it was 800,000, give or take. But I point this out because you often hear in these meetings, we talk about the budget, our year-to-date expenditures and everything else, but we also actively monitor our revenue. I haven't seen a drop like this since the pandemic in 2020. And around that time, we also had $1 million shortfall in our revenue from what we expected. And during that time, we paused Age 63 staffing because we didn't know what our financial circumstances were going to be, especially under the pandemic. And that created a lot of frustration and uncertainty on the part of many because for obvious reasons. We'll leave it at that. This is a different situation today. We have $1 million as of last month on paper that we had not collected, but we are financially stable. We've increased our reserves. And so this sort of a shortfall in our revenue isn't as concerning to us. We're monitoring it. We've already collected some. We should collect it all eventually. But just an FYI, we're not so tight anymore financially that this is a big situation for us. So that's taken years to accomplish, and the board has helped do that. So we're in a far better situation than we were previously. But I wanted to point that out because these things don't go unnoticed on the part of our team. Any questions? Okay, we're ending the year 2024, and we're falling right now at 0.56% under budget for the year. So that's a really great thing. We're ending the year at 99.44%. So we held the line, we did our jobs, we came in under budget, which does help with that revenue shortfall that we have right now, but we're looking good closing out our 75th year. For the particulars, I think I'm the only one here tonight, so I'll read them. We have mid-month utilities at $135,888.82. We have accounts payable warrants totaling $1,559,571.57. We have payroll direct deposits for 213 individuals totaling $1,531,461.75. Payroll taxes at $325,956 even. And medical claims processed as of December 17th, 2024 at $306,448.43 for a total December 2024 approval of $3,859,326.57.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for the vouchers, approval of vouchers, or any questions, first of all, on the budget? No questions, and I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the vouchers.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Burr, second by Commissioner Medina. Any other discussion on vouchers at all? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Vouchers are approved. We are going to move to item number 15. The board convened to executive session per RCW 42.30.110(1)I. To discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding discussions likely result in an adverse legal or financial consequence for the agency. Joining the board in executive session will be Executive Director Ganem, Executive Secretary Perry, and legal counsel. At this time, we recess for 2 minutes to get everyone transferred into this executive session. We anticipate executive session to last 10 minutes. Action may or not be taken after executive session. At the end of executive session, we will take 2-minute recess to get everyone transferred back into regular meeting.